Okay, good evening and welcome to the personnel. Ma'am. Good evening and welcome to the Highland Village City Council early work session. Today is March the 10th at 6 p.m. We're going to get started with a discussion regarding roles and responsibilities of the City and Highland Village employees serving on the Benton County Transportation Authority Board of Directors and discussion of future Benton County Transportation Authority service plans. And who is kicking us off?
I'll start and then probably turn it over to Councilmember Hurst. Mayor, members of the council, you do have in your packet the original guidelines and responsibilities as a draft that I put together. Since that time, Councilmember Hurst has done some research and did an excellent job coming up with some other roles and responsibilities. Those are in red. So at this point, we could start looking at those. Ron, if you have any comments or things that you want to go through with what you've listed there.
I just want to go through that I was able, and thank you for giving me a little grace and time since we had to leave town for days. I actually was able to make contact with communities, and different members who have business with or part of the 8 other transportation agencies that are also formed through the transportation code. So I asked them, what do they do? What data do they collect? How do their members, I talked to a few member cities and how do they know who uses what? And they have these fabulous front end and back end dashboards and the data management. So that's how I came up with, this is and a lot of them have a lot of the same standards, the same, I guess, industry standards they use, but it's very eye-opening on the amount of, they know everything they need to know. They know who's riding their train or in their buses, how far they come from their home to their bus stop. Plano figured out that their train station was mostly used by not Plano people because they know where all the data is coming from. It was very eye-opening and something as a council, since we've been talking about how do we know who's using what and how many's using what services? Well, after talking to all these agencies, the data's there. We just need to harvest it and see what's going on with our city, who's using what, so we can make it better. So that's where it started, and this is where it ended.
So do you want to then, Rhonda, just go down the list there?
And again, these are talking, this isn't, one and done conversation, but these are things we should discuss, and it might take a few meetings to get through it, but to come up with a solid one. So our job as city council members is to relay to our board member how it works with our city, what our transportation needs are, to advocate for our residents, and what works for them, how transportation planning fits in with our land development code, our city values, and our infrastructure and everything. So really, I mean, we can read through them as you guys see one to go through. I did like a lot of cities, they just use resolutions to be crystal clear on what they wanted and what their goals were and so it's in writing and it's much more formal. So it's always in front of the transit agency partners to know what's important to that city. And so since I've been here, there's never been any resolution or anything passed to actually say what our goals, objections, or anything is. And so I thought that was pretty cool that that's how the cities cemented in their values and responsibilities, and communicating. And then the board member was an advocate for those resolutions and documents.
So, and Rhonda's in red, right, Rhonda, you're...
Yeah, so Paul started with the black part, and Paul was so nice and very collaborative. We worked together on this one. And so these were just the kind of things, what we do, and not only role and responsibility for our board member, but we have responsibilities that we've never really written down. And so this is a list of all the different things that I think, coming to where we are and what's going on, I think it's a good discussion to start, and then throughout the next few months, actually being much more active, considering resolutions and whatnot to make it very clear what our expectations are, and also to get data so we can know who's riding, who rides the bus. Up in North, how many students take the train and use the bus? How many people use Go Zone? How many people from here use the train? And all of that data is available, and then we can make it better for our residents. We can do demographics, we can do ages, we can see what's important to them. And I think that will take us a lot further than we've ever been.
In your research, you stated a couple of times the data is available to us, we just haven't harvested that data. Now, you've multiple times have requested data from DCTA that have not been able to supply that to us. So where's the disconnect?
Well, from what I understand from the other transit agencies, it's an industry standard that you know where people are purchasing everything, 90+% of everything's being done on apps or on the computer. So it's tied to a digital currency, it's tied to a zip code that's tied to an address. And so most of these places, sometimes most of the data they use is anonymized, so they know if it's in this block. They don't normally say Joe bought this. So speaking with them, that data is available. I don't know if have they harvested
with
the different agencies.
Not
Yes.
DCTA.
Not DC, I've asked but speaking with them, supposedly that's a normal, anybody who's taking any kind of digital payment can figure out the who, what, where, when, and how.
I would think if we can get the information from DCTA, it's actually there and we can get it.
Yes, that's,
And I think that would go a long way in helping
Yeah.
us.
so it's always been presented, oh, we don't do that, we can't get that, well, every other agency has it, so it can't be that hard to do, I mean, it just can't.
I thought in the last meeting when they came down, they had specific ridership data for Highland Village.
No, it was just for North Louisville Station, and it was generalized, and they have never given us specific Highland Village data, ever. I mean, ever, it was a
Right,
generalized.
because they've said that they don't capture that data. That's one of the comments that have come back.
Well, they're taking digital payments, they have the data. And they're asking for a lot of money for these dashboards that other places have. That they use these back-facing and front-facing client, customer-facing and then back-end facing. So again, it is there. Whether they wanna crack into it or not, I don't know, but
Yeah, that'd be an
It is
interesting
there.
question, because I know that when we asked the question, he said that that's one piece of the data they do not capture and retain for privacy reasons and risk reasons.
yes, and they can anonymize it. And so hearing that other places do it and they don't have a problem with it and they have security in place, we are behind the curve if we are not doing it.
Obviously, that's something we want to pursue then and try to get that data.
Do you think it has anything to do with the zip code, sharing the zip code with Louisville and being able to?
No, with GIS difference, with GIS databases and referencing and everything, as long as you have a zip code and street address, which when you fill in your credit card, you put all that in, and all the other databases they talk to, there should be, in most instances, be able to tell if you're in the city limits or not.
Plus your address would have the 4-digit, whenever you put your address in, it'll have the 4 digits after the zip code,
Yeah.
which would further indicate your location. You don't have to, it'll be automatic.
Like one agency I talked to, they know where all of their people are coming from for bus stops. And so they were finding out that some people were walking longer and they found a gap in their stops. And I asked, how did they figure it? Well, they buy their bus passes online. And so that's where they were able to figure out how to rejigger some of their bus stops. So people were walking the same to the bus stops.
It's a technical term, rejigger.
I'm an engineer.
That is an engineering term.
Yep.
Rejigger.
But talking with them and listening how they were making real live changes and improving the quality of services for their customers,
Well, with the data, you
we
can do
should be
that.
able to do that. And if we're not doing it, then we're living in the 90s.
I mean, it's marketing 101, understand your customer.
Yes, and to date, we have not. So that was one of my,
That's a good point for us to be able to pursue them.
but again, I talked to a ton of different people and cities and agencies and engineers, and So anyway,
Council, how do you want to go down this list and take them one by one, the information that she shared? How do y'all want to look at these roles and responsibilities?
do you wanna take it, look at it, mark it up, and we bring it back? Or do you wanna talk about it, we mark it up, we give it to Paul, he kinda puts it in a thing, together? Cause it's a,
If we got some time, we can get
Yeah.
started tonight. and-
yes,
So just start with number one, work closely with city council members, DCTA staff, and community stakeholders to gather insight and foster a collaborative approach to transportation issues affecting Highland Village. That's, to me, is
Yeah.
common sense. That would be the number one role and responsibility, to work closely with council and us work closely with it's a two-way street, so, and our residents. Anybody else have any comment on that one?
How do you measure that?
It's more of a statement.
well,
That
let's
should
just
be
say
the-
our
that should be
current
the
board
headline.
member had 0 response to being asked to participate in this exercise.
Okay, no, but I mean, I'm just saying when we put it in, we're not gonna argue with it, but
Yeah.
how do you measure it?
Let's work closely.
Yeah.
The timeframe
Yeah, I
of,
mean, does that mean once a quarter? Does that mean just a
Well-
feeling?
Well, Paul put that in the front for the timeframe, so it's combining those two.
And further down,
Write it
there's
down.
more on it, like to actually put dates and times, but I think,
That's all I wanted to make
yeah.
certain, whatever we put in there is measurable or we don't put it in. Or it's just nice
yeah,
top level.
Which is a good segue to the next one, but that would be the same question I'd have for the second bullet point.
Are we
How
replacing,
often and to what extent do you want to engage the community, and what are we specifically looking for,
And then the how.
and how?
You
correct.
can come up with ideas of how he or she, whoever's serving it.
Right.
But
I mean, is this gonna
needs
be
to
community surveys, is this gonna be,
Well, and those are things we need to, do we survey I think if we had more data, we can kind of figure out what the holes are and what we needed. But yeah, how do we want to engage? Because really, I don't think there's ever been a big push to actually engage specific to DCTA to our residents. We hear, well, this person does this or whatever, but I don't know if we've ever really actively, specifically done a measurable metrics, not on Facebook survey or something, that what is important and outreach to them and whatnot, who's using and why they're using it, what they want better. So I think we have to have discussions on what engagement looks like, because to this, I don't know if we've had any up to this date.
I don't think we've ever done Lori, have we ever done a survey on DCTA or usage?
No.
So I mean, it would be a good thing. I know that DCTA's had booths, at Celebrate Highland Village where they've been there, been visible. And then they sponsor a lot of the activities. I mean, like the chili cook-off, they were a sponsor. So, getting the name out, but, a survey on how many people use it, probably be a great thing to put down.
well, I would think that DCTA has already done a similar survey to their entire ridership, you would think, right?
You would think.
And with that, I could assume then that they could whittle that down to specific areas and give us some of that data as well. I would think, I don't know.
They do some surveys, but I think maybe to your point is to get more specific to Highland Village residents.
Our city,
Right.
I really could,
But I would think they'd have some of that data. It may not be as detailed as we
Yeah.
wanted, but I would think they've got some of that data.
Maybe that's something we promote, not just within the survey, but once, or along with our semi-annual updates, a DCTA putting on and sponsoring somewhat of a lunch and learn or something in that regard, along with our representative. And we can give them everyone all the notice they want and just see whoever shows up.
well, and if most of our users, let's just say our demographics come back and say most of our users are seniors. Well, why wouldn't we do something at the senior centers if something's going on?
Sure.
So if we know our market and our demographics, then we could target those people.
And I'm almost 99% sure DCTA would be happy to sponsor that.
Oh, I'm sure they would love to.
I have asked for a field trip numerous times to take the seniors, with the seniors, to go up and show them how to actually use the kiosk thing up there and get on the train and go up to Denton and eat lunch and, and then come back. It's just Because once they're familiar with it, it would make it a lot easier. So I think that would be something that we need to continue to ask for and encourage that they do. Okay. Promote and advocate for the transportation needs of Highland Village residents as directed by City Council. This includes articulating the needs and concerns of the community that supports the city's financial health, infrastructure planning, and land use policies. Why do you want to?
I think it's important as our city that we advocate for our land use policies because not a board member explained to me that we could solve all of our DCTA problems if we just put in, this happened in the past 3 months, 5-story apartments, we'd get more residents and we'd have more people, it'll solve our problems, and there's 2 places in Highland Village prime for it. Well, last time I checked, that was nowhere in our land use plan. And we shouldn't, I mean, why are they advocating, they need to know what's important to Highland Village instead of telling us what's important to them. So I was caught off guard by that, and then I explained, you know, studies show $1.4 are spent for every dollar coming in, so, and then but those are conversations that we've never solidified that say, these are the priorities of Highland Village residents. This is why people move here. These are our land use policies, and this is why Highland Village is Highland Village. And that's what sparked that one. I was like, what? That was the right kind of.
So perhaps we do something like this on an annual basis, right?
Mhm.
And basically, I mean, that way we can measure it, we can plan for it, we can work with them, we can indicate, you know, have our land uses changed? Has, you know, our ideas about the city changed? Have our plans changed? And start to align, you know, their thoughts.
Correct. And a lot of cities, I asked how cities did this, like how do they communicate, how do they do this? Well, some cities have transportation committees, and they're usually larger and all. And in smaller cities, the council does it. So there's different ways they communicate. In our case, it would be the council communicating, not a citizen board driven. So I don't think the city wants any more citizen boards, but that's how a lot of them do it is through citizen boards.
Okay. Assist city council members with requests for information for DCTA.
Yes.
Sounds personal.
No, we need,
Well, this is exactly
Yeah,
the
to
board
know-
member role and
I
responsibilities.
get it.
the board member should not be the gatekeeper. The board member should be help us, if we know someone or we need some information, we shouldn't have to go through a gatekeeper to ask simple questions. There should be some kind of, hey, can you help me with this? And as that relationship grows with the board member, it gets better, but, sometimes you need a little bit of information, not hard, not obscure, just, hey, what was this? And having to go through a gatekeeper to ask simple questions, just don't, not bombard them, but, you know, we should be making these I've got a great relationship with Paul and Christina. I could call him, talk to him, and he's been very informative and helpful. So that's all, it's just to help facilitate, if there's, want to have meetings and learn more and stuff like that, it should be more encompassing than once a year we get an update.
Durham City Council have proposed changes to transportation reinvestment program, the TRIP program.
And those were things we brought up in our council meeting, like, hey, can these happen, can this, that, and whatever. So that was just, I think Paul helped spear that one is, are there gonna be more changes, what does that mean, you know, to get the most bang for a buck?
On that particular point, would it be wise for us to reword this and request quarterly or semi-annual updates to the TRIP program and what they're doing?
Yes, so we can add, if we keep going, there's some, yes, that would be a great place to do it.
In the TRIP, generally, it's, there's a call for the projects once a year. And prior to that, there's a discussion of any potential changes for it. So that happens on an annual basis.
Okay.
The DCTA service plan, which they may look at updating that would have an impact on the TRIP plan in the future.
So anything that affects the trip program, we would like to have some type of advanced knowledge of.
That's a lot of it is, if we could be apprised before they're voted on, so as a city, we can say, this is our position on X. And we've never done that before. It's always like, oh, okay, well, so for us to be proactive instead of reactive, and right now we're reactive.
When you were reaching out to these other cities, did you reach out to the member cities for DCTA and get their input?
I know people within the city of Denton from my time there, and I've talked to them, they like, I mean, DCTA, they've got the students, they've got buses, they're,
Well, in regards to what we're working on and
They have a
what you put together
transportation
in
committee.
these. Okay, so, but they actively feed information to the council. How does Louisville do it?
I did not get any feedback from Louisville on how they do it. I know the mayor is very involved, he's always at the meetings, I mean, mayor, he is there all the time, and he's a big advocate, and he's always in it.
Well,
I did
and
not get-
essentially, we have the same setup, right? Paul and
Yes.
Paul goes, we've got that information, but how does that information fit back to us? What type of matrix are they getting, and how much input are they pushing forward? Because I
Yes.
understand your point, and I think it's very important for us to be able to be reactive rather than responsive in this, and hopefully in advance.
Yeah, and our situation's a little bit different, because we have no real estate, we have nothing. Denton is much more involved, so they've got
We're
it,
still an active voting member,
I know, we are,
and that's the key.
that's the key. But like Denton, they have a transportation committee, they're much more savvy. They've got, but they also in tandem with, they have a university coordinator, like at the city who works at the university. They've got their transportation committee and their coordinator. They have their homeless coordinator, because that's a big piece with the DCTA. They have to work with that too. And then they have a liaison with the school district. And so the council isn't as involved in the city of Denton. They actually have paid staff that's all they do. And they work with things.
And so, and that's really the reason that I asked, to give us ideas on how they are structured, so that we can put forth ideas on how to structure our setup, so that that information is a two-way pathway,
Yes.
active pathway.
And when I spoke to smaller communities in the Austin area and the San Antonio area that more like us, that have just a bus service or like that. And because we are not Louisville, we are not Denton, so I tried to reach out to the smaller communities. And really, some of them, they don't do much. And some of them, they're very involved, and it's their council, and some of them have, I have a board members, but some of them have a council liaison, like this is your thing, council member, whatever, you're here. And so the smaller communities, depending on if they're in growth mode or they're not yet, there's a big spectrum. There was no one way they did it, but on smaller communities under 20,000, it was really the council that did it.
And our representative now needs to be that individual, and this needs to be active.
Yes.
Well, that's one of the reasons I was indicating that it would be good to have a council member as a
Right.
DCTA board member, because that would foster that flow of communication.
Easier.
Yes.
Yeah. But we can also require a representative to provide us with ongoing updates and enforce that, and we need to do that.
Okay. Did we just do keep city council, which one are we?
Oh, keep,
Keep the city council informed?
yes.
Okay, that's one we're on. Any service changes that may affect DCTA service delivery to Highland Village. Yes, oh, and do that a minimum of 30 days prior to the service changes being voted on by DCTA. This ensures transparency and allows council members to communicate changes to constituents effectively and vote on a resolution if necessary, documenting the council's position on the service change. When are their meetings?
They are the third or fourth, it's usually the Thursday after our fourth Thursday meeting. I've been trying to go to them regularly. And what sparked this one was, there's been a lot of discussions, but nobody at this table knows about what's going on. And there's gonna be a vote soon, and none of us know what's going on. And I was told in January, beginning of January, yes, we're gonna reach out, yes, your board member's gonna do this, yes, you're gonna be part involved. There's maps, there's planning, there's everything going on, and nobody in this room knows on this council.
So what is it?
The service changes that may or may not happen to Highland Village for the GO zone, what it entails, what it is, what our members need. I was told by one board member, oh, it's only gonna be medical facilities. Now it's like, basically the map I saw was the Flower Mound economic development map. And so what does our city want? What do our citizens need? Is it gonna be more to foster shopping? Or is it, have we been describing medical visits, doctor visits? And I was explained, well, when we open it up, it's medical things, cause it's not a sales tax generator. And so, but no one on this council has been informed on any of it. And it's been,
That's not accurate.
well, then,
I've been informed in the last week.
in the last week.
Yeah. No, but I'm the one that suggested to change the service area
Okay.
in writing to DCTA. I'd mentioned it here in council before, I'd mentioned it during our meeting in the offsite of a way to expand GO zone for our patrons.
Yes, which is wonderful, but they're already putting in maps and they're wanting to
And they're-
vote on something. But as a council, we should have input,
They're working through it, yeah. So
yes.
I think there might be a little misconception, but yeah, they're working through it, which I'm happy to see them considering it.
I'm not saying it's not a great idea, I'm saying that we're 2.5 months into a planning process and we're just now hearing about it when we said this is very important to us. That's my thing is,
But I think if you rephrase it and say, our representative needs to be active in representing our needs. And that communication back to us and what our needs are so that it can be forwarded has not happened. Yes, we know they're working on it, right? But that communication from us that we want to have our input, this is what we'd like to see. You've done it individually, but as a council, I think that needs to be put forth and reported back to us as well.
Well, and I mean, that's something I think earlier said, as a council, we need to decide what do we want as a council. I think our previous meeting where we finally decided we don't want to get out of DCTA was a good start. Now going back and adding for service differences, that's where we need to go. And we have not articulated that to them, okay? Trying to get this so we can ask Dan or, you know, our representative. That needs to be more formalized.
Well, I think that's probably, what we're trying to do so that, and going forward, we have a scheduled presentation, let's say, and we are able to participate. I think we have communicated that we want at least going into Flower Mound to the medical district. That would help a lot of our residents, but again, and to Rhonda's point, none of us have had any input except for at that meeting where we were able to say that at that one meeting, but I think that we could definitely expound on that and they could come in and.
It was the last board meeting was presented, right?
I missed the last one. You were
Yes,
the last
it
one.
was. I was at the last
It was the
board
board
meeting.
meeting after the State of the City's address.
Yes.
yeah, it was, but I was at the meeting, but that stuff, and speaking with them, has been in the hopper for a couple months.
And that's the first time I went to the board, so that's,
But presenting something to the board to look at and all, it would have been helpful. Highland Village, this is,
let it perk a little bit. I mean, it's good to even get it out
Yeah,
there.
but shouldn't we be presenting that as a council instead of individual?
They're looking at options. They can come back to the council and say, here's what we're looking at.
How many service changes have happened in the last 3 years that have been voted on? Does anybody know that number? Without giving indication to us?
this is a boundary change, so this has never been done, ever.
So-
Like, they're wanting to go outside of the voting member cities to provide transportation. This is never, and the only big change in 3 years has been really the GO zone.
And if that's the case, were we informed before they implemented GO zone?
I don't know.
Or did they just say, hey,
No,
DCTA?
I think that we were informed. I don't know if we've ever had a service taken away that we weren't.
Yeah, and I think you're right, John. I think it was part of one of his earlier presentations to try to get more GO zone vehicles over here. One of the big changes and shifts that was made was in the city of Denton, because their GO Zone was being used when bus service should have been used. So they made some changes in routes, which then freed up some of the GO Zone vehicles to shift more to the Highland Village, Louisville area.
Sure, so in that case, I think this plugs into the earlier ones. It's not necessarily, we should be getting informed all the time of everything that's going on. And that gives us the opportunity to discuss with each other and maybe inspire new ideas that we can give to our representative. To John's point, John put it in writing, even though it wasn't through this council. It was something that I would expect a normal Highland Village resident or citizen to be able to do. Send something in, DCTA to look at it, whether or not it's through the representative or through us or through just the, they have input too, as citizens who pay for it. So I think that just goes back to an overall, hey, as a council, we need updated on services, data, anything else that needs to go into that in a timely manner. But I think you could combine 4 or 5 of those.
Oh, absolutely, this is more
Yeah.
of, this is all the note, I mean, I didn't wanna
Yeah.
say, this is the policy, and this is what, that is, my place was to, I went, gathered information, tried to put some stuff down so we as a council could come up with it. And kind of, we've never done this, this
Well,
has never happened.
That's why the service changes worried me a little bit, because if there were any service changes that we were not informed about, that's why I wanted to know if it was in the last, if they had done that previously, to where they made a service change without giving us prior
No,
notice
there's
of
a
it.
big shift about to happen that can actually, if not done correctly, take away sales tax dollars from us. And so I think as a city, since that is our carrot with DCTA, right, is we get sales tax, is we need to think this through and make sure we help our residents for the needs they have, but we don't shoot ourselves in the foot and send everybody to go shopping in Flower Mound. That's where I'm coming from. This huge shift should not be the Flower Mound, and heck, Frisco's getting a GO Zone too, economic development maps. It should be serving our residents for their needs and making sure we capture as much sales tax as we can. That's how I'm looking at it as, is to protecting our sales tax dollars for a member city that has been in it for 20+ years.
Okay, and I agree with that. I hope what we're doing, council, is going through, Rhonda's giving kind of some background on each one of these, we can ask some questions, and then we'll take this home and work through it ourselves, and then bring it back before we adopt anything, before we move forward. Because like it's been pointed out, several of these things can be combined.
Yes.
If you're not comfortable with some of them, then we can discuss it at that time, so. But it's good to have the background from Rhonda. She's put a lot of work into this and know where these are coming from. So the next one on there is provide a presentation on new voting member applications within 30 days of the application to become a new voting member. Presentation should include the financial terms of the membership. The background on that is?
That it's kind of gray on what it takes to be a new member. And they have, I think Paul might be able to speak to this, they are supposed to do the equivalent of the sales tax, 0.5 cent. But what does that mean is, how is it funded? And because again, we've been paying into the system for 20-something years, and it would be, there hasn't been a new member in ever. So it is, we should make sure, we all know everybody's coming in at the same thing and what deals are being made, is it a tax? It would be helpful to know because we're stuck. And if they get to be more creative to come in, they're not stuck, then there might be room for us to be creative.
And I think to that point, and my thought process has always been, the more member cities that they bring in, the more opportunities we may have to be able to reduce our contribution at some point. I mean, I think at that meeting that we all decided that we can't get out of DCTA, so we are gonna support them, we're gonna encourage them to increase ridership, bring in member cities, because at some point, I want to see that contribution that we give reduced. Instead of being 0.5 cent, maybe we do 1/4 cent, but we can't, they're not gonna be able to do that right now. And they can't until they bring in.
Right, but
more
here's,
people.
exactly, and there's another further down, there's a policy that, there's a lot of communities that are not member cities that get go zone services. They get similar services we have, and they get to negotiate their rates. Well, there should be a time period that, you know what, we will give you these services 3 to 5 years, but after that, you're a member, you're not. And that's where, as a city, as a member, we should come up with a policy, look, this is great, we're helping them all, but y'all need to either put up or shut up, right? And you get to negotiate the services you want, and, I mean, Frisco gets to have their own go zone, they get to negotiate everything, right? And they're not locked in forever, we are. And so,
Who is?
Frisco,
Are they using Argos then?
yes, there's a new service map. Yep, it's gonna be
It
a
doesn't
contracted
take
service.
service away from us.
No, it
It's-
doesn't take,
it
but
is
my
a-
point being is,
Well, wait a minute, so we're providing go zone infrastructure for Frisco.
It is an agreement with Frisco to do that, and there's an administrative markup on that. And to Rhonda's point about trying to get them to become members, that is the intent of the new member policy. If you're gonna contract for service, okay, you can do that for so long, but then it is time to become a member.
that's what is there's a lot of cities that have contracts to do similar to the service we get, but they get to negotiate.
And then do we know if the contracts have timelines on that?
They do, yeah.
They do. They-
Yeah.
And
And there's a
As
there's a
Rhonda said,
tremendous
up or
administrative
shut up.
markup on those contracts.
there is, however, that markup is paid for, so the state and federal government dedicate so many dollars for cities based on population for services for disabled and older services. So it's not coming straight out of their pocket. A lot of it comes from not the residents' tax dollars. It comes from, well, it's all of ours, but it comes from state and federal money.
Yeah,
So
some of that does, and then
yeah.
the cities do contribute
They
some.
contribute,
But yeah, you're
but
right, a lot of it
don't let them
is,
fool you, the markup is,
it is grant money
Yes.
essentially.
As a voting member of DCTA board, I think it's important for Highland Village to have the metrics by which new voting members are gauged by, so that we can, as a council, look at it and provide that information to our representative on an up or down vote on the new members. So the matrix by which they measure this, I think, will be important to look at.
The matrix by which DCTA makes that decision?
Yes,
Makes a decision to what?
allow new voting members.
it's gray. There's no hard and fast
Based on how much
policy.
money they have, and how much revenue they're gonna be able to generate. I guarantee it's what it's gonna come down to,
Maybe it is, but what else are they looking at? There's gotta be something other than how much money you can provide,
population,
maybe.
are you making uses, but they're not gonna go to
But
cities that
see,
aren't
this
gonna be able
is,
to provide
this
services
is
too.
my point. Those board members that make those votes, they know that information. They have that information. Our representative is voting for us, and we don't have that information. I think it's important for us to have that information,
I'd like to have our own
because
information.
we may disagree with our representative at this point. I think it's important for us to review it.
And does it,
I think it's fair to make certain that the representative knows how we want to vote. Okay, we also have to know that we can say vote no, which is fair, that's our prerogative. He's one of three.
Right.
Actually, there's what, five voting?
Five
voting
there's
members.
five
It's two at
voting.
large.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but I think that's a fair request.
And I can
It's
also,
a member application.
and I may have sent it to you before, but I can send
if
it
they
again,
become
the
a
new
new
member
member,
policy.
Are they locked in, right? Like, what is their rules to be a new member?
It won't be the same as ours.
That's my point. We should all be treated the same. And so if a new member comes in and those are the rules, then everybody gets to have the rules. We shouldn't be playing, did this, everybody should be the same. If we're all given a half cent, whatever, we should all be on the same playing field with the same ins and outs.
Should.
Well,
Okay. All right, the next one on there, and I love the discussion here, guys, but we need to go into closed session too. We need a little
Oh,
bit of
yeah.
time. So, on a monthly basis, provide Highland Village resident RIDAT report should include the number of years riders per month, DCTA services, including the A-Train, buses, and GO Zone, and the number of residents per month that have purchased service online or on the app for the A train goes on and bus. The city council does not advocate to improve services and accessibility if the city council currently does not know how many residents are utilizing the DCTA services.
And this is data that on other dashboards that are actually provided to communities in other transportation areas. You can go in the
Same.
dashboard.
Dashboards that DCTA is using.
No. I don't know what DCTA using. I'm saying other transportation agencies can pull this data very easily. So it's not that it's not there.
Yeah, I would assume they have almost all of those reports and more.
And I would like to request that from all, we have the updates on DCTA. If we could now have them held in a place where we have audio and video for our citizens, because every time, the last 2 or 3 times we meet over there in the Duval Center or the Public Works, and it's not video and we have a recorder. The citizens should see all of it. It's not like a regular meeting, like this meeting's got video and audio. And people can go through and watch the meeting and all. The last 3 DCTA annual meetings has been over in Public Works and it's been an audio recording. And I think that's not fair everybody else gets this, we should all be the same.
How many people do you think's watching?
I don't know, but people might wanna go see what they talked about.
That is true. For reason.
It's because we always tell our citizens, if you can't make the meeting, you can always catch it on YouTube, you can always catch it later. And we should do that for all of our meetings.
On a quarterly basis, no, the next one, on a quarterly basis, the DCTA board meeting member updates the city council on the following. Let me start that over. I hit my finger and it hurt. On a quarterly basis, the DCTA board member updates the city council on the following. Update on total DCTA ridership, capital projects, ongoing DCTA studies, potential new DCTA members, debt service owed by the city of Highland Village, efficiency analysis, and other pertinent information.
Again, this can be combined with other things, and I was just starting the conversation, it's not, but I think just having a more structured approach.
It definitely gives a guideline to the things that we would like to get a report on. For sure. And the next one is on a semi-annual basis, provide a report of contracted services for all non-voting member cities and non-member cities, including those outside of Benton County. The report should include the contract length, contract amount, and the amount of the contract being funded directly by the city, excluding grants and state federal dollars. We just talked about that, so.
I mean, again,
That should probably be on a quarterly.
I've read some of the, I've gotten as far of them, and let me just say, they get to negotiate really good deals. And they're not even in Denton County. And then the next one was just kind of, we need to have responsibilities
Absolutely.
and such.
So, council, does anybody have any other comments or anything on this? These roles and responsibilities? We'll go to the next one. The city council role and responsibilities to discuss. The structure allows DCTA to operate effectively while addressing the specific transportation needs for each member city. DCTA member cities are essential for ensuring local needs and concerns are represented in transit decisions.
Yeah, that was just more statement, just kind of what we've already talked, again, a kind of brain dump of kind of things and stuff to.
What our role is, responsibilities are. It is the responsibility of Highland Village City Council to clearly communicate the concerns of all Highland Village residents to DCTA through the appointed board member. Next one is citizen outreach through citizen surveys and community transportation workshops are ways to solicit meaningful citizen feedback. We kind of talked about that earlier. Agree. And an effective way to convey this information to DCTA includes regular communication on infrastructure planning and land use policies through approved resolutions. Anybody have any comments on those? Those are too far-fetched at all. And then at the bottom it says, some resolutions the city council may include proposed changes to the transportation reinvestment program. City of Highland Village position on transportation-related issues affecting Highland Village residents. Proposed changes to service impacting Highland Village residents. The city's position on advocating to allow citizens to vote on continued DCTA membership. The city's position on when to require a city to become a full voting DCTA, member of DCTA after receiving contracted services for more than 3 years.
So those would be the form of like a recommendation, or city council's resolution to recommend that they do this stuff? I mean, our resolution has no legal binding effect, right? Just
No, but it's a,
just the stating of our opinion for the
Yeah.
record. Okay.
Anybody have any?
but it's more than what we have now.
Right. And that one, the city's position on advocating to allow citizens to vote on continued DCTA membership. We had that discussion when we all met, and I know, Rhonda, you feels very strongly about that. I just don't, and I don't wanna mislead our residents. I
No.
don't want them to think that because we are putting it out for them to vote.
This is a different statement.
Oh.
This is working with our legislators. There are 3 cities in the entire state of Texas whose residents are not allowed to vote. Denton, Louisville, and Highland Village. The other 8 transit agencies formed by the Transportation Code, every single community has that right. And so we need to advocate with I don't care if we stay or go, it's not my decision to make. But we should not be the only 3 cities in the entire state that is not allowed to vote. That's what I'm saying. And I've been working a lot lately on other things with legislators. And it's not too far-fetched for us to go meet with them, and a lot of them would, once they see that we were the only 3 in the state, it's not a hard lift for them. That's what that means.
Okay.
Not
I'm
to
sorry, I
mislead our
thought-
public, no.
Okay.
This is more legislatively to us work with, I mean, I'm working with legislators a lot in Central Texas and all over. And, of course, you know me, I'll bring up whatever, but, when it's documented, we are the only 3 communities in the entire state of Texas, I think that's wrong.
That makes sense. Okay, I'm sorry, I misread that.
Yeah, no, I'm not about misleading, I'm about fairness. We should all be treated the same.
But take it to our legislators, not take it to our citizens.
Correct.
All right, so council, what I hope thank you, Rhonda.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for the grace for letting me have a little more time.
I appreciate all the time that you spent on this, and I know you spent a lot of time on it. So council, what I hope we will do is we'll take these home and read through them again, knowing the background, and make any notes or any changes or any suggestions at a future council meeting. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Rhonda.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, any clarification of consent or action items listed on today's city council meeting? Anybody have anything? I will say that number 14, consider resolution 2026-3235, authorizing city manager enter into funding agreement with Highland Village Community Development Corporation, authorizing the use of type B sales tax funds for projects approved for the HVCDC fiscal year 2025-2026 budget. If nobody has any questions or concerns about that, we could move that to consent. But I wanna know,
Yeah, very quickly, again, what that is really just the technical agreement that says the city can utilize those funds from the 4B to do what the
Okay.
budget allows. But that both bodies had actually approved.
We had a discussion on CDC,
Yeah,
and it's fair to, I don't care how you want to do it, it's fair to have the opportunity for the rest of the council to ask questions for clarity if they want it. If not, we put it on.
well, we can leave it on, I'm just saying if nobody had any.
But I just want to make sure they understand what it is before they move it to consent. And if there's
This allows the money to be moved, it's not approving the project.
it's more of a, correct, it's not approving the project, because the council still does the projects.
Okay.
And does the contracts for the projects.
Okay.
It's just,
That's
you know,
fair.
once the projects are approved, the funds are there as part of the budget, the approved budget, which again, both bodies have approved the budget, because, you know, the CDC approves its budget, annually, and then it has to be ratified by the council. And is actually recognized as part of the city budget. So,
It's formalizing what we've been doing all along.
exactly.
It's really,
It's about all it does.
it's more paperwork.
It's a little bit paperwork, but it creates a trail, because technically you're supposed to have this even between 4Bs and 4As in the cities.
On number 13, we're gonna remove that and put it on a future, agenda. I think that Bill wants to, is that the plan?
Yes, that is the plan. We
Okay.
made a mistake and we need to correct it to bring it back to
So we will
CPC.
remove,
Do you wanna put 14 on consent then?
I'm okay,
Do
well,
a short meeting.
I'm okay with that. We'll beat the hail, John.
that's what I'm about, I'm all about hell. Okay, guys, when we get there, I'll ask if anybody wants to move anything. If you wanna move it, we'll move it. If you don't, then
No.
we'll leave it there. So, okay, we need to go into closed session under, section 551. Personnel deliberation, evaluation, city manager and city secretary. Okay. Oh, time is 6:50.
Or better not?
Good evening. Welcome to the Highland Village City Council meeting. Today is March the 10th. It is 7:07 PM. Call the meeting to order. Let the record show all council members are present. We're going to get started with a prayer led by Councilmember Sean Nelson, and then he's going to lead us in our pledges.
Please join me in prayer. Almighty God, we come before you with grateful hearts, acknowledging your sovereignty over all nations and all people. We lift up our city and its leaders, praying for wisdom, integrity, and justice in their service to our community. We thank you for the dedicated city employees who keep our infrastructure strong, our communities functioning. Bless them in their work, protect them from harm, and grant them satisfaction in serving the public good. We recommend to your care our emergency services personnel. Give them courage, safety, and wisdom as they protect and care for others and comfort their families as they serve. We pray for the residents of our city, our families, children, and elderly. Bind us together in community, protect us from violence and despair, and help us love our neighbors and care for the vulnerable. We pray for our military personnel deployed around the world and those at home with their families. Protect them from harm and guide our leaders to seek peace in troubled regions with moral clarity and restraint. Help us all remember that our ultimate citizenship is in your kingdom, and may we live as peacemakers. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please stand. Pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God,
one and indivisible.
Thank you. So, Mayor and council reports on items of community interest. Council, does anybody have anything tonight? Yes, sir.
I would like to give a shout out to all city staff, Public Works, Parks, Police, Fire, for all the support that was given to the McAuliffe Grand Chili Cook-Off and Parade. It was a stellar event, big event, went off without a hitch, and it couldn't have been done without all of the staff working together and making it seamless. So again, thanks to the city for helping make probably 3,000. I mean, it was bigger than any event I've been to at the city in the last 10 years. So anyway, thank you.
And the floats were amazing. I'm just going to say they were absolutely amazing. Council, does anybody else have anything?
Yes,
Okay.
I would. Yeah, it was a great event. I would also like to thank our Highland Village Police Auxiliary and our police and fire personnel as well for keeping everybody safe. They did a great job. A lot of people out there. It was pure craziness, and they did an awesome job.
Yeah.
They did, and I got to ride in a car where you went in through the window. There was no door. So, yes, fun times. All right, city manager and
One
staff.
more, I think
Yeah.
Rhonda had her hand.
I'm sorry?
did.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Her light's not working.
Yep.
Well, I
it's
can't
the
see it
it's
anyway.
operator error.
There we go.
No, I just wanted to remind everybody that next week is spring break, so kids are going to be running around. We'll drive a little more cautiously. There'll be super scooters, 9 to 5 all day, so just watch for everybody celebrating spring break. That's all.
That is true. Thank you for the reminder. Anybody else? Okay, then we're going to do city manager and staff reports.
Mayor, we've got one item. Like many other North Texas water system, the Utilities Division will conduct the annual water disinfectant conversion from March 18th through April 8th. During this time, the city will temporarily rely on groundwater sources instead of surface water. This routine process helps maintain water quality, reduces the need for system flushing during peak demand, and supports water conservation. Residents may notice temporary changes in the taste, smell, or feel of the water. These changes are normal and indicate the process is working as intended. We have notified our residents of this conversion since January in the utility bill insert and the village newsletter. We have created a detailed brochure that explains the process, why we have made this an annual event, what residents should expect, and how it helps us save water and maintain required disinfectant levels. The brochure will reach residents in the next few days. Additionally, we will use social media and the city website to keep residents informed throughout the process. visit highlandvillage.org/water FAQ for details. And this is a copy of the brochure here that you should be seeing in the mail in the next couple of days. And we do have a village report, and that has information about the Teen Bonfire Bash, our Easter egg hound up, and the Easter egg hunt.
And you said that started March the 18th?
That's correct.
And it ends
April 8th.
April
8th.
8th.
Mark your calendars.
Putting it on my calendar right now. Okay. And then do we have a video?
Hey Highland Village teens, get ready for the Teen Bonfire Bash Friday, March 13th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Doubletree Ranch Park. Hang out with friends around a roaring bonfire, ride hay wagons, crush epic games, and have a total blast, all for free. No registration needed, just show up and make some unforgettable memories, ages 13 through 18 only. See you there. Brought to you by Highland Village, Parks and Rec. Get ready for tales and treats. Join us at the Easter Egg Roundup on Saturday, March 21st at Canine Castle in Unity Park. Bring your furry friend for an awesome egg hunt, adventure games, and springtime fun for the whole pack. Don't miss out. Leash up and head over. Details at hvparks.com. Highland Village's Easter egg hunt is back. Join us at Unity Park for a morning full of springtime fun. The hunt begins on Saturday, March 28th at 10 a.m. sharp. Thousands of colorful eggs laid across the fields. Meet the Easter Bunny for photos. Bounce in the bounce houses. Enjoy face painting. Check out the fire engine display and grab free ice cream treats. This free family event is open to everyone. Come hunt, play, and celebrate Easter. The hunt begins at 10 a.m. sharp. See you there.
Okay, and let me just emphasize 10 a.m. sharp. So there's always kids running up crying because they missed it. So get there at 9:30. Let's just say it starts at 9:30. All right, visitor comments. Do we have any visitor comments? Okay. Well, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered for approval by a single motion and vote without discussion. Each council member has the option of removing an item from this agenda, so it may be considered separately and or adding any item from the action agenda to be considered as part of the consent agenda items. Council, anybody like to move anything?
I'd like to move item number 14, Resolution 2023, can't read it, 3235, authorizing the city manager to enter a funding agreement with the Highland Village Community Development Corporation, authorizing use of Type B sales tax funds for projects approved to the HVDC FY 2025-26 budget. Move that to consent.
Okay, council, is everybody okay with that? Yep. All right, so on the consent agenda then, we will have number 10, consider approval of minutes for the regular city council meeting held on January 13th, 2026. 11, receive budget reports for period ending January 31st, 2026. And moving number 14, consider resolution 2026-3235, authorizing city manager to enter into funding agreement with Highland Village Community Development Corporation, authorizing use of Type B sales tax funds and projects approved in the HVCDC fiscal year 2025-2026 budget. Council, do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition of item 14.
Perfect. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, carries 7-0. Moving on, we are moving number 13, resolution 2026-3234. We're removing it from the agenda, and we'll have it on a future agenda. We don't need to do anything with that, correct? Just make that statement. All right, well then we're going to go to late work session, status reports on current projects and discussion of future agenda items. Council, does anybody have anything? I do.
I have a flat tire I need to fix. I'm joking,
Oh.
sorry.
Kevin, can we get an update on,
Yes, I have Yeah,
in my
as a
mind.
future agenda item, probably as early as next meeting, we will be reviewing some proposed edits to the handbill ordinance that we passed, that we've been talking so much about. And just to let you know, I did, the in-house attorney that I had been dealing with at the publisher of said handbill that seems to be stirring up all this stuff, has left the company. He's not with it, but I was able to get a hold of her today, and I think I managed to find her replacement, or at least the person who's handling it now. So I'll be I'm going to try the next day or so to reach out to him and bring him up to speed on where we are and what we're about to do.
Okay. Perfect. Anybody else? Council?
I do.
Oh, yes.
Can we get an update on when are we going to have the community outreach and workshop on the drones?
Thank you. That was an item I was going to bring up. I've had some emails back and forth with the representatives of Wing, and for various reasons, they cannot have an event like that at the Walmart location. What they have talked about and wanted to find out our thoughts is if they did that here at City Hall or at a park, provide a window of opportunity for the residents nearby and other residents as well to listen to the drones, hear the noise, and find out more about it. So if that's the case, they can schedule that fairly quickly.
Why can't they have them at the Walmart? Just out of curiosity.
There's a couple of different reasons, and I'll certainly discuss that with them again, but I don't think that would happen. Of course, it would be the best way to do it, but
If everybody buys a soda from Walmart, can we be there? Because it's probably a liability for them if they're not customers, right, to be on property?
I think that's part of it, and there's some other rules that's going to make it difficult.
I think obviously rules are rules, but knowing actual dimensions of heights, topography, and all that, to have that, even to have a video without anybody there to show, to play as if it's here, whatever, that's great. But there needs to be some kind of visual on what it physically looks like there, so the people around there, are they looking at a drone 400 times a day out their window? I think that's important.
Well, better yet, can we just have everybody line up on the sidewalk that is city property and just observe Walmart operating the drones up and down
That's a
on their
good idea,
property,
actually.
right? So we're not physically right next to the drone, but you would get the vantage point of the residents that are going to be seeing it.
I don't think they have the ability at all to have the drone at the Walmart parking
Okay,
lot.
got it.
Yeah, but I'll take another run at that and see.
But they can
And then
have
if
it-
not, we'll,
At this parking lot.
at this one, yes.
Anywhere else but Walmart.
Interesting. My main concern is, and I've asked ever since day one, is they can even take a video of it. Just what does it physically look like? Because it's not flat filled.
I'm sure with that Walmart, there's some sort of liability because they haven't set it up for drones at this point in time. So it's probably nearly impossible for them to get in there just based on Walmart policy.
Have it here.
Okay.
Invite everyone to come and have it in front of a council meeting, or part of a council meeting.
Okay.
I mean, that would be.
I will ask again and see about Walmart parking lot, but if not, yeah, we could sort of try to schedule that at a pre-meeting.
We're going to be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure they have 18 of them all taking off within 20 minutes so we can see what that's like. And coming back in the
Yeah,
10
yeah.
minutes. So we get the whole scope of what it looks like. So
I would-
not just one.
I do have a question though. For drone delivery, if I order something at Walmart Highland Village and it's delivered to Flower Mound, who gets the sales tax? Because I would like to know what portion in their studies, if the sales tax goes to the city where it's delivered, like Amazon does, if 25% of it is Highland Village, or is it 100% Highland Village? Because if we're going to be less than 50% and we get the burden of all the noise, that's a completely different discussion.
So I think for a future agenda item to bring that back, that would be great.
Yeah, we can
For them
certainly
to
find
communicate
that out.
that, and to be able to answer that question. So, absolutely. Council, anybody else have anything?
I'll just ask 407 and 2499 schedule completion. Nothing? Okay.
They're getting
Easy.
lanes marked.
At least he's honest, I don't know.
No, that's fine.
They did stripe a couple left turn lanes.
Did they?
It is all
Okay.
striped.
Look at that.
Then they stopped and tore the
exciting.
median up.
Yeah, then they tore the median up.
So, who knows?
Which one?
Okay.
Left turn onto southbound 2499.
Ugh, okay.
Is there an update on Scenic Drive drainage?
Yeah,
About to be really bad today.
Scott and his staff put a pretty big document together outlining the history of that. I need to review it, and then we can email it out to council so you can take a look at it.
Anything else, council? Okay. If not, we are adjourned at 7:22. Everybody get home before the storms.